Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be going over the Orioles' loss to the Cincinnati Reds today. It was the opening game of the series. We're going to be going over the loss. There wasn't a lot of Ravens news today, so it's just going to be about all the Orioles today. Let's just get right into it. Going over the game, the Orioles lose today 8-3 to the Cincinnati Reds, and the Orioles move to an 8-11 record on the season. A very disappointing game today that was pretty much over by the fourth inning. Pretty uneventful game for the Orioles, both on offense and pitching-wise. This was very similar to a lot of the Orioles games that they had this year already, where, the offense just doesn't find a rhythm and the pitching just kind of implodes and doesn't do well. This was kind of one of those games that they played today. And again, as I said, by the time the fourth inning was over, this game was pretty much wraps and pretty much done for. But starting off with the offense for the Orioles, they put up a total of 4 hits and 3 runs scored. 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. They didn't really do anything on offense, but at the same time, I don't necessarily blame them because the game was pretty much over by the fourth inning, and I just don't think that a lot of them had the fire to really get going. But there's also some problems with the lineup that I'll go over in just a second. But leading off today was Adley Rutschman leading off today. He went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Very disappointing day from Adley again. Him and Jordan Westburg both have been pretty disappointed here recently, just due to, obviously both Adley and Jordan had really great starts, and they've kind of settled down and haven't really done much of anything here recently. But Adley, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. His average is at a 203, so he's barely above a 200 average right now. Not good. Not good for Adley. Gunnar Henderson, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Gunnar doesn't get a hit today. Tyler O'Neill, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And Ryan Mountcastle, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. So your 1 through 4 hitters, Adley, Gunnar, Tyler, and Ryan, all 4 of them win a combined 15. Win a combined 0 for 15 today. With, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 0 for 15 with 9 strikeouts was your top 4 batters today. So Adley, Gunnar, Tyler, and Ryan, 0 for 15 with 9 strikeouts. You're not going to win games. You're not going to win games when that stuff like that's happening, and it's just disappointing again to see the top of the order just not produce. But going down to someone that did produce today was Cedric Mullins. He only went 1 for 4, but he did have a solo home run in the second inning. He was responsible for 1 of the 3 runs scored by the Orioles. And yeah, Cedric Mullins continues to stay red hot. He's been amazing all year for the Orioles. Again, so happy that Cedric Mullins is having the start, but again, it is disappointing to see guys like Adley and Jordan and Gunnar and Tyler O'Neill even recently just kind of start to die down a little bit. The offense still hasn't found a rhythm because a lot of the rhythm recently has come from the mid to bottom of the order. It hasn't really been the top of the order that's been producing for the Orioles. And again, we've had a different lineup every single day because Brandon Hyde is so set on analytical stuff, and he doesn't trust talent over analytics. And then it leads to things like today where, your offense doesn't do anything at all. But Cedric Mullins, did have a home run today. Happy for him. Continues his red-hot streak. He's been great. Happy for Cedric. But going down to Jordan Westburg, who, in my opinion, is probably one of the most disappointing players here recently. Again, he started off as, in the first, week and a half of the year, he was one of the best players in baseball statistically. But recently he has been, I think this is now an 0 for 26 in his last 26 at-bats. But Jordan Westburg 0 for 3, down to a 175 batting average, which is insane because when you see the start that Jordan Westburg had, you would have thought that he was going to be the guy. You would have thought that, okay, this guy's going to be a extremely big part of this team, which he is still a big part of this team. Last year he was a big part of the team. The offense really died down last year when he got hurt. But this year, and especially recently, he has not been producing at all. You would love to see him get back on track here soon. But yeah, it's not looking great for Jordan right now. It's pretty disappointing. Gary Sanchez, though, 1 for 3, scores one of the runs. And Heston Kjerstad, definitely player of the game. Player of the game overall for sure was Heston Kjerstad, who again is taking advantage of the opportunity that he's been having because of the Colton Cowser injury. He's been able to really, shine and do well. And this is now back-to-back games with a home run for Heston Kjerstad. He went 2 for 3, 2 RBIs, and a 2-run home run in the 8th inning. Didn't really matter because the Orioles were down 8-1 before he hit the home run. Obviously, the end score was 8-3 because of that. But Heston Kjerstad, great game, multi-hit game, only Oriole with multi-hits, and he was actually responsible for 2 of the 3 runs the Orioles scored and half of the hits that the Orioles had as a team. So yeah, Heston Kjerstad did his thing. And then you go down here to the 9-hitter. You have Jorge Mateo, who went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, which is not surprising because there's not really a reason for Jorge Mateo to ever be playing, for ever to be playing on this team ever again, to be honest with you. Jorge Mateo is solely on this team because he is fast. That is the explanation that Brandon Hyde has given. That is the explanation that Mike Elias has given. The explanation that the reason why he's still on this team is because he is fast, and that's it. He'll come in to do pinch running. He'll, come in, and be a pinch runner sometimes. But whenever he is at bat, even last year and this year as well, he has done nothing on offense at all. And as you can see from an 0.59 average that Jorge Mateo has, he has not done anything at all for the Orioles this year. And I just am a little confused on why Brandon Hyde continues to play him at such a regular basis as well, even with Gunnar Henderson coming back and even with Jackson Holliday recently playing very good. Jorge Mateo, for some reason, is playing, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But what do I know? I mean, a guy who's batting an 0.59 I don't think should be playing at all, especially if he's not a mainstay, which Jorge Mateo is not a mainstay. But yeah, Jorge Mateo, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Little confused on why he played today. Same thing with Gary Sanchez. But the reason why I think he plays, and I think all of the Orioles fans understand this, is because of Brandon Hyde. Brandon Hyde is a very, very, very analytical manager. He's done this his whole entire time being with the Orioles. He'll change the lineup significantly due to a pitching matchup and due to whatever, whether it's a left-hander or a right-hander, he'll change the lineup up dramatically. And it leads to games like this where, obviously this game was over because of the runs that they let up, but in a lot of the games that the Orioles have scored not a lot of runs in, a lot of the time it's because the lineup just doesn't look correct and doesn't look right. Like, for some reason, Adley Rutschman's leading off today. I don't know why. For some reason, Jorge Mateo is playing. I have no idea why. I don't know why Jackson Holliday has the day off. It's just a little confusing. And I don't know why Cedric's also batting in the middle of the order. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And he's so analytical, and he trusts his analytics so much due to pitching matchups that favor the hitter. But he doesn't trust the talent on his team. And true talent is going to overcome and overpower a pitching matchup. Pitching matchups are for like the late end of the order, but he's changing the entire order. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a little upsetting and frustrating as well, watching this team and being a fan of them. It's frustrating seeing the lineup get changed every single game due to pitching matchups. And they go out here and they just don't score runs and they aren't able to do anything. Obviously, Heston Kjerstad did his thing, and Cedric Mullins did his thing. But, you have Adley, Gunnar, Tyler, Ryan, Jordan, Jorge Mateo. Like, all these guys had no hits on the day. The only players that got hits today were Cedric was with the home run, a Gary Sanchez single, and a Heston Kjerstad multi-hit game, including a home run. Those were the only hits. Those are the only players with hits today for the Orioles. 3 of the 9 hitters got hits today. And it's just I don't even know how to describe it because, it really is very confusing on why this offense just does not perform. It's a little concerning and very confusing on why they're not able to perform at this ability. Obviously, last year we fired the hitting coaches. We hired new ones. We, for some reason, have 3 different hitting coaches, but it doesn't really matter because the Orioles offense just can't find their consistency. Over the past 2 days, the Orioles, not including this game, but over the past 2 games before this, the Orioles won both of those games. And it wasn't necessarily due to the offense. It was really due to the pitching being great, but also the offense was doing its thing. But again, you just fall into this hole once again where the offense just doesn't really know what to do because the lineup keeps changing and there's no consistency with it. So hopefully tomorrow that's not an issue, but I mean, who knows? But going over to the pitching today, because this was the real disaster of the game. I know I just talked about the offense for a while, but the pitching was really the disaster of the game. And more specifically, Cade Povich was the disaster of the game. Cade Povich now moves to 0-2 on the season in his first 4 starts of the year. Cade Povich got through 3.1 innings, gave up 6 hits, 7 runs, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 3 home runs in 3.1 innings with an 88 pitch count. His ERA balloons up to a 6.38. And again, this is like your 5th hitter, well, really now is your 4th hitter or pitcher. And I mean, yeah, you just can't be having this. Again, like, you're not going to win a lot of games when your starting pitcher is giving up 7 runs, and like flat out, that's just how it is. You're not going to win games when your starting pitcher is giving up 7 runs and getting pulled after 3 innings. Like, you're not going to win a lot of games, and you can't rely on your offense to always go out there and do their thing. Obviously, I'm talking a lot about the offense, but I was more upset about the pitching. I was more upset about like the pitching matchup and how we moved the lineup around so much. That's what I was really upset at. But for the pitching, you can't expect to win a lot of games when you're giving up 7 runs from your starting pitcher. Like, that's just not ideal. It's just not something that you can do on a consistent basis. But Cade Povich goes out there, has a horrible performance, definitely his worst game of the year. And got pulled after 3 innings, moved over to the bullpen, blew it, gave up a run. Matt Bowman actually came in, did fine. And then Ciano Perez came in actually for 2 innings and got 3 strikeouts, gave up no hits, no runs, no walks. So that's actually one of the positives of this game, was Ciano Perez being able to come in for not just 1 inning, but 2 innings of work. Gave up no runs, no hits, no walks, had 3 strikeouts in the process. So that's good for Ciano. Hopefully he can get back on track. But the bullpen obviously did okay, but the damage was already done from Cade Povich's pitching today. Very unfortunate, Cade Povich with another bad game. Maybe not, okay, obviously a bad game, but he's actually had some solid starts for the Orioles this year. So this was definitely his worst start of the year. Hopefully we can get back on track tomorrow. Let's actually see if we have our pitcher ready for tomorrow, because they were talking about how they don't know who it's going to be. It's going to be Brandon Young. Brandon Young, starting pitcher for the Orioles tomorrow. This just got announced, I think, a couple of hours ago as well. But Brandon Young will be starting the game tomorrow for the Orioles. I'm assuming that this is going to be a bullpen game. And then obviously the third game against Cincinnati is going to be Charlie Morton. So, Charlie Morton games, you never know what you can expect. Well, you know what you can expect from them. You're going to have to expect some high-scoring offense from your team to be able to win. But hopefully Brandon Young tomorrow, and if it is a bullpen game, hopefully they can hold it down. Hopefully they can confuse the Reds a little bit, and hopefully we can go out there tomorrow and pick up a win. But today it was a disaster, and I'm just going to say it as it is. It was a disaster. Not a great game at all for the Orioles. Obviously, look at the other side. Ellie De La Cruz got a home run. Matt McClain got a home run. Candelaro got a home run. So, yeah, just not ideal for the Orioles at all today. Pretty disappointing loss from the pitching to the hitting, because, they win the past 2 games. They won their series, last series against Cleveland. They are coming off of that series win. They're staying at home against Cincinnati because this was a 9-game homestand. And they go out there and they just don't perform well. And it just feels like all the 2-win-in-a-row momentum that they had feels a little bit shriveled now. Hopefully tomorrow in a bullpen game, they can go out there and do well. The next 2 games are bullpen games and Charlie Morton, so the offense is going to really have to be on point tomorrow and the next day if we're gonna have a chance to win the series. Because again, we're gonna have to win the next 2 games to win the series. If Cincinnati wins tomorrow, they take the series. If the Orioles win tomorrow, they tie up the series going into Game 3 on Sunday. But yeah, the Orioles, very disappointing day today. There's not really much else to say. Pitching was bad. Offense was bad. Happy that Cedric's doing good. Happy that Heston's also been playing well. But yeah, all you can really do is move on to tomorrow. Hopefully the bullpen game can again, and sometimes when teams go out there and run bullpen games, it does confuse the other team because it's multiple different pitchers coming into the game and like multiple different pitchers that someone's facing, and maybe they don't have the time to adjust to it because most of the time you're adjusting to a starting pitcher, and you can eventually try and figure out what the starting pitcher is doing, but. For a bullpen game, you can't really do that against a bullpen game because you're facing multiple guys in a game. But tomorrow is definitely the worst pitching matchup we could have with a bullpen game on the line. The Orioles are facing Hunter Greene, who has arguably been the best starting pitcher in baseball this season so far. He's 2-1 on the year with a 0.98 ERA, 31 strikeouts, and a .58 WHIP. Hunter Greene has been great. He's arguably been the best starting pitcher in the MLB this year so far over the first few weeks. And the Orioles are coming out there with a bullpen game. So you have the best starting pitcher arguably in baseball right now against a team that's running a bullpen game and against an offense that doesn't necessarily have a lot of consistency. So this could lead to a lot of different things. This game tomorrow is going to be very interesting to see how they do. The game tomorrow is at 3:05 p.m. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. If the Orioles can come out here and win tomorrow, that would be an incredible win. If we win tomorrow, it would arguably be the best win of the year. So hopefully the Orioles can pull it off at home. But yeah, hoping for the best for the Orioles. And then obviously we're going to have an episode tomorrow going over the Orioles game. But then, hopefully they can tie up the series going into the rubber match on Sunday where they have Charlie Morton. So again, it's just another difficult scenario for the Orioles with the pitching because again you have the injuries, you have the Zach Eflin injury, you have the Grayson injury, which has gotten worse now with the Grayson injury because of the shoulder injury and also the elbow strain. You have the lat injury for Zach Eflin. You have Tommy John, you have the Tommy John comeback for Kyle Bradish. So it's a very interesting Orioles season so far. If you've been following along this entire time, I think that you'll will agree that this has been a very interesting season for the Orioles so far. But going over the Grayson Rodriguez news, because I wanted to save this for the end. But Orioles, Grayson Rodriguez to get second opinion on sore shoulder. And a lot of the time, whenever you hear second opinion, that is not a good thing. Brandon Hyde said, we're going to see some other opinions on it. Orioles manager Brandon Hyde said Friday, so there's really nothing to report at this time. We're gathering information, some second options from the doctors, and we'll have more to give you sometime this week when all that stuff comes back. So usually when a player gets a second opinion on an injury, that's usually not a good thing because most of the time that means that the first opinion means, most of the time season-ending surgery. So, second opinions on a lot of these injuries most of the time lead to players being out for the year. And if Grayson Rodriguez is out for the year, that is a huge blow for the Orioles. I can't even describe how big of a blow that would be. Because obviously going into the year, you were expecting Grayson Rodriguez to be healthy for this team. But you go into the year, he got injured during spring training. He was supposed to be, injured for maybe the first month and a half of the year. He was on track to come back. He got another, now he has a different injury with his shoulder. So, the pitching injuries have just completely plagued this team. So, if Grayson's out for the year, so you don't have Grayson, you look over to Kyle Bradish, who's also hurt. He might be out until the end of the year. I don't even know if he's going to be able to come back this year. It would have to be late this year. Later in the regular season, and then obviously Zach Eflin, who they're optimistic and hopeful that it's a weeks thing and not a month thing for his injury. So at this point we're just praying that Zach Eflin can get back as soon as possible because that's looking like the most optimistic injury that we have for the starting pitchers, which just so happens to also be the Orioles' biggest weakness is the starting pitching. So it's just a really wacky scenario. And again, the offense is going to have to find its groove. It's going to have to get its stuff together. It's going to have to get ready to go because If this team is going to want to be successful, and if they're going to want to make the playoffs, which right now it's not looking very likely that this team is going to make the playoffs, but if they do want to go make the playoffs and really compete, they're going to have good offense. They're going to have to be able to put up runs consistently, because the pitching is not going to be able to be consistent. I mean, you have back-to-back games with great pitching where you win both of those games, and then you have today where it's just really bad, and then the next 2 games aren't looking very promising as well for the pitching. So they got to find the consistency. Obviously, they've won 2 of their last 3, which is good, but I mean, we'll see what happens tomorrow with the Orioles. Going over and looking at the AL East real quick, the Rays are last at 8-12. The Orioles are 4th at 8-11. The Red Sox are 3rd at 11-10. The Blue Jays are 2nd at 12-8, and the Yankees are 1st at 13-7. The Yankees are on a 5-game winning streak. The Blue Jays are on a 3-game winning streak. The Red Sox are on a 3-game winning streak, and now the Orioles did lose today. So the top 3 teams in the AL East are all doing great. They're all on good winning streaks, and then the Orioles and the Rays down here aren't looking too great. So hopefully this doesn't turn into just one of those seasons that you kind of just have to throw away due to pitching injuries, but it's not the greatest start for the Orioles. Again, they're 8-11 on the year. They're 3 games under 500, but hopefully they can figure it out and things will be good and they can go out there and get a win tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Birds of a Feather. This is episode 19 of the series, so we're moving along well. I'm having a ton of fun doing the show. Again, the Orioles are in a bit of a weird situation due to all the stuff going on with them, but we're going to be covering the Orioles and the Ravens every single day. There's not a lot of Ravens news that's been going on, obviously, because teams are kind of locked into the draft. So, again, the Ravens are locked into the draft. The draft is this upcoming Thursday. That's super exciting. Obviously, big day of the year for sports and football. But I'll have an episode out tomorrow night sometime about the Orioles game tomorrow. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure to sub up on YouTube, follow up on Spotify if you like this content. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.